Hello everyone, it's Leticia Harris, the pastry chef at Candied here today. I want to welcome everyone. This is the Halloween edition. We're going to do a couple of fun recipes today. We're going to start with a s'mores bar. The s'mores bar recipe was from Miss Sharon over at VDO. So I'm going to do the s'mores bar, but a small variation to the recipe that Miss Sharon provided from VDO. Okay, so in here we've got our butter melting, and I don't have the mini marshmallows, but I've got these big jetted marshmallows. We've got the butter melting in there. We're gonna add our marshmallows in here. It's gonna be a sticky treat. Halloween and s'mores somewhat go together, especially if you're out camping and it's scary and you're having your s'mores and it's Halloween. It can be creepy. So we're going to get that melting down. I'm not going to use this whole bag because it's a little more than the recipe calls for. Just guesstimate. And all through the season I make Rice Krispie treats or Fruity Pebble treats for you guys, and it's one of my favorites because it's one of the easiest desserts and everyone loves them. Something that's not on the recipe is I like to add a little pinch of salt, and it balances that sweetness with the marshmallows, and then we're going to have Golden Graham cereal in it and chocolate, so you want to have that little salt to balance that sweet in there, okay? And a little vanilla. Extra little love. Okay. You don't want to have your fire too high when you're doing this, because your marshmallows can burn really quickly, but I've also do this at home in the microwave. You know, sometimes it's difficult for kids to share, and I found it easiest if I just make a little bowl with butter and marshmallows and pop it in the microwave and pour your cereal in, pop it on a paper plate. Each kid has their own individual round of crispy treats. But I love them. It's an easy dessert, and it's a crowd-pleasing dessert. So while this is melting, I said you don't want to have it up too high because it will start to stick to the bottom of your pan. There is butter in here, but if it's too high, it will just surpass that and start burning. So I have it on a 300. On this induction, it will tell us the temperature. So I have it on 300, and it is melting. It's getting there. You can't rush perfection. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but I believe in it. You can't rush perfection. Okay. I've got Golden Graham cereal. It's open because this is one of my favorite cereals, and I needed to eat some yesterday morning. So we've got Golden Graham cereal here that we're going to pour into this once it's melted down, and some chocolate chips. These are just semi-sweet chocolate chips, what we make our chocolate chip cookies with. If you like milk chocolate, you can use milk chocolate chips. If you like white chocolate, use white chocolate chips. Or if you like dark chocolate, it's up to you. We just happen to have these. So it's melting down here. Once it gets to a nice consistency, we'll pour in our cereal. The recipe, again, it calls for mini marshmallows. I have the large marshmallows, so I did cut down a few minis. That way we can fold these in at the last minute, and you can still have that body of the marshmallow. It will not come off my glove. And I've got a pre-greased pan. If you want to lightly grease it, you don't want it to be too heavy. You don't want to pour it in and then you see the grease piling up on your corner. So it's a lightly greased pan. That way when we go and pour this mixture in there, it'll be easy to come out. And once it's set up, it'll be so easy to cut and serve. Okay. You can see in here it's getting nice and melty. And it's got a slightly brownish color, and that's just because of the vanilla we add in there. And if you don't want to add vanilla, you don't have to. If you want to add a different type of extract, such as almond, you can do that as well. Or no extract. Hey, it's up to you. It's going to have a lot of flavor anyways because of the graham cracker cereal marshmallows and chocolate. So, marshmallows are still a little lumpy because they were, again, the large marshmallows. So I'll let that get melted down all the way. And again, my bag of marshmallows is bigger than what the recipe called for, so I am just somewhat guesstimating it, and maybe I'll throw a few more in. It's nothing like not having enough of your marshmallow sauce to cereal. This bag has been butchered. Stick that here. Also, we're going to be doing today some pizza skulls for Halloween, month of October, and candied apples is a really big thing for October. So we're going to do some candied apples. I wanted to do cinnamon candied apples, but I didn't have any luck finding any cinnamon extract, so we're going to just do strawberry flavored candied apples. Okay? And we almost are where we need to be with this. And if you like your crispy treats chunky, feel free to go ahead and fold it in. I'm going to just let these last marshmallows that I put in at the last minute melt down a little bit more. Okay. Put it in the heat. We're going to fold our chocolate chips in last because we don't want them to be so too hot and it actually just becomes melty and it'll be a sticky mess in there. So we will do that one in there last too. Almost where we need to be. Now, grab this. I just reached for hand spray. So when I get this out, I'm going to spray my hands. It makes it so much easier with getting it out. Okay. So, hold in our golden grams. I won't pour it all, just in case. I might need to eat that later. It's totally my favorite cereal. Just like Rice Krispie Treats, it's just with golden grams. Oh, around Christmas time, you do this with a little white chocolate and what is that cereal called? Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's serious.
I'm going to go ahead and edit this real quick.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and roll that out.
Oh, okay, Chef. I didn't know that was your way.
No, that's all right.
I was trying to enjoy the show.
No, just kidding. Just because I got to go start my kitchen cacciatore. I saw a table full of everything ready to go.
Benny was cutting all that stuff.
Are you okay stop and start
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You want to make that noise.
Good. Okay. Almost where we need to be.
As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to have Anthony come. He comes back over here. Go through the back door.
Okay.
So that way it doesn't make that noise.
Thanks, Chef.
And we're not to re-edit this
For that noise. Looks like I needed to use all the cereal. I won't buy a box of the cereal at home because I'm forced to eat the whole box, and I'm trying to do better. So, I guess I'll eat a s'mores bar. I was hoping to get another little bowl of cereal. That's all right. It wasn't meant to be. So I'm going to pull this off of the heat. This is, again, an induction, so at some point I don't want it to keep heating. So I'm going to pull it off. It's still nice and gooey. You want to make sure you get it everywhere. Okay. I'm scraping from the bottom and I'm pulling it all the way up to the top. Okay. So we're going to take our marshmallow bits that I cut up and just sort of pull them apart, putting it back on the heat for a second too. Put it back on. Because I don't want it to get too cold. You get too cold, you're going to be really messed up. So when I'm making Rice Krispie Treats for 1600, oh, it's a process. And it's a very fast process. So whoever's helping me is like, she's a mad woman. But you got to move fast with this because it will set up. So I got our little marshmallow bits. Again, the recipe does call for miniature marshmallows. I didn't have them, so I had some big ones. I just simply cut those up. Okay. So fold those in. Ooh, it's so sticky. And then I'm going to take these chocolate chips, fold some in, so it really is a true s'mores. Some of that chocolate is starting to melt in there, but it's alright. Okay. So again, our pan is already slightly sprayed. It's going to sit on here, but it's not heating. This thing is off. Okay. Get my, spray my gloves really good, and I like putting on lotion, maybe a little more. It's just spray though. You'll thank me later. So be careful because your gloves are slippery. You want to still make sure you have a nice handle on what you're handling. Okay. So get all of this goodness out of here. And I'm one of those scrape it till it's all clean kind of person, so it's basically what I do. And because I've got spray on my hands, I can go in here, and do be careful, it is hot. Don't think that it's not hot. It is hot. And get the rest of the little cereal bits out of there. Gloves are sprayed, so easy way to clean this off because your gloves are clean. You're just pulling it right off of there. Okay, got as much of it off, then I'll press it into your pan. You know, if you don't have one this size, you can use whatever size you have at home. This just tends to work. Okay, see some of the chocolate is melted down in there. Oh, it smells so good. I'm going to take the rest of these chocolate chips and just sprinkle it across the top. This is going to be a luscious little treat. Like, I'm excited to eat this. I've never made s'mores bars, so this is my first time making it. And we're just going to let this sit in the cooler until it sets. So about 30 minutes, if you're going to put it in the cooler, should be good. And we'll try that out. Alright guys, I'm back. And now we're going to start with our skulls, our Halloween skulls. So we were given these little molds. You can buy these on Amazon. I think they're about $10 each. They're fun for the holidays if you're really into Halloween and you want to be festive. One thing you can do with this is make pizza skulls. So this is nice and a non-stick product already, but we're going to still go ahead and coat it. Just because you don't want it, there's little teeth on here, there's eyes on here, and you're pushing this dough down in here. The last thing you want it to do is be stuck. So I don't know if I'm going to do all 6 of them, but I'll get them ready just in case. Okay. Excuse me. You will choke on that. Okay, so we've got some mozzarella cheese, and do a little cheese blend on you. Now you can buy, there's a Kroger definitely, or I'm sorry, Fry's, definitely makes an Italian blend of cheese, but we're just going to do mostly mozzarella here, and then a little bit of shredded Parmesan cheese to get that little nutty little flavor there. Make it taste a little better. Even better. Not a little better, but even better. Okay. Got that. I just got some store-bought pizza sauce and store-bought pizza crust. Okay, this is all easy stuff. Now, we got a few pepperonis. You can stuff these little guys with almost whatever you like. We're just going to do pepperoni. If you got sausage, you can use sausage. You do want to be careful though. So we're not going to do a whole lot of pepperoni. I'm going to cut these into little triangles because it will let off a lot of oil. So if you're going to do a lot of veggies too, you somewhat want to be a little careful with it. Maybe saute your vegetables first if you're doing a lot of veggies and let it cool, because a lot of times they will let off some liquid. And unlike a normal pizza where your toppings are on top and it's evaporating, and that's okay in the oven, but when this dough is going to be closed, it's going to be right inside. So you don't want to have a soggy skull, do you? So I'm just, again, quick little cut on that. If you're into making your own pepperoni, hats off to you. And just set this to the side because I'm going to prepare my dough. Well, get a nice little work area for the dough, should I say. Okay, and I'm going to flour this a little bit. Just because I'm sure this is a little sticky. It's dough. Matter of fact, I got sourdough, literally sourdough, working over in the bakery right now, and it's giving me a headache. It's acting like it doesn't like me, but it's all right. Okay, so this is just a store-bought pizza dough. If you like making your own pizza dough from scratch, have at it. So this, I'm just gonna pop it out. Look at that guy. I'm not gonna lie, I've never used this kind of pizza dough before. Nothing wrong with it. But there's a seam, so I'm gonna open it and then just simply unroll it. Okay. I'm gonna be delicate with it because you don't want to get any holes. You see a little hole, just patch it up. And I saw this online somewhere, and I believe it was only cut into 4s. So I'm going to just go down in half once and then down in half again to give me my 4. Okay. Stuff there. So when I do it in here, I'm going to do it on all 4 corners. Makes it a little easier. Give it a little stretch. Okay. You want it to go down in there, but you also need it to be able to cover the outside, the back part of it. Okay. So, again, I just have a store-bought pizza sauce. If you like to make your own sauce, you got a special little recipe, I'm not mad at it. And you don't want to get a whole lot. Well, this guy's spoon is too big. You don't want to do a whole lot because you don't want to overstuff it. So I spread the sauce up the walls a little bit. It's nothing like getting a pizza and there's not enough sauce. It's like one of my pet peeves. Okay. Then I'm going to take some of the cheese, put it down in there, put some of the pepperonis in there. Okay. A little more cheese. Now you got a lot of dough, so you want to have that ratio just perfect. So I've got it filled almost all the way up, but not too far up. And you're going to take your back side and close it up. Now this guy was a little heavy on his back side. A little jumpy there. We're going to close them up. You know, I'm not a surgeon, but I will perform a little surgery on some food, if you will. So I think he's tucked in there nicely. I'm going to take this other guy, give it that little stretch, not too far. I see a little hole in here. I'll pinch it close. Okay, put your dough down there. Sauce. This is this spoon reads 2 tablespoons. So if anybody wants to know, so it's about 2 tablespoons of sauce. Now, if you want a lighter sauce, if you want to use a Alfredo sauce, you're feeling a little Alfredo-ish, go for it. Go for it. So I'm making sure I get a few pepperonis in there with a layer of more cheese. So it's throughout it. Because again, it is quite a bit of dough for each one. And then you just close this little skull back up. I almost feel like a surgeon though, saying closing his skull up. Ooh, I'd pass out if this was a real skull. Let me just say that. I don't handle human blood well at all. So my kids are hurt. They hurt themselves outside. They already know. Take that to the neighborhood, mom. Take that somewhere else. I mean, unless it's deadly, I would pray that Lord gives me strength to deal with it, but the sight of human blood is very difficult for me. Okay, so we got this guy here. Almost done. I got my oven preheated to about 400, I think is what I put it on. I may turn it down. I don't know how fast they're going to cook in this little convection oven. So the recipes typically call, you know, subject you to a regular oven. Cheese, pepperoni, a little more cheese. So I got just enough filling for 4. Making sure I pinch this dough close when I'm closing it up. That way it doesn't find an air pocket to start slipping out of. So I'm pinching it together. By the grace of God, like I said, it's my first time that they come out nicely. It's our last one. So 1 sheet of dough gives us 4 of them. Well, this is pretty fun right now with everything so wild. You need something different to do for the holidays. Making pizza skulls could be one of them. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is the first Halloween I don't have to buy any Halloween costumes. I don't have to take anybody trick-or-treating. I don't know. It's almost like answered prayers. So here's our last one. Okay. Again, I'm going to pinch it close really good. Doesn't matter what the outside, the back side looks like, as long as it's nice and closed, because the presentation side is the skull, it's the face. Alright, so we've got them in there. They're nothing pretty on this side, but I did pinch the dough closed on the back. Okay. And then we're going to go and pop them in the oven here. And then I'm going to clean up, and then I'll come back and we'll make some candied apples, alright? Okay, our sugar is boiling away. Okay, let's see if I can get these guys out here. Just move this over. We've got our candied apple stuff here, so slide this over so we can get this skull up. And this is just a piece of dye inside of there. Oh Jesus, look at those guys. They are hot. We're not doing any cook show bacon over here. These are hot out the oven. Woo! Whipper snappers. Okay. Look at these guys. They're so funny. We got our skulls there. I'm going to crack one open here in a minute too. Actually, let's get this guy over here. The little pizza skulls. Back of his head is all jacked up, but it's a little pizza skull. I will pull it open, but it is hot. Bear with me. I will pull it open. So we've got that still cooking there. One thing with the candied apples is once we get our candy to where we need it to be, you don't want to just get too excited and start dipping. You want to let it sit for a little minute. That way it will set. When you stick your apple in there, it will coat it nicely. If it's too hot, it will just run down. You see a lot of candied apples, caramel and candied apples, and they've got that big base down at the bottom of it. When you were in culinary, or when I was in culinary school and you had that big bottom on it, it means you didn't do something right. So we're going to let it cool for a little bit before we actually go with the dipping. Okay, so it's bubbling up nicely. I have not mixed it, not one time. Like I said, I'm trying to prevent from getting the sugar crystals around the sides of the pan. Now the trick to doing that, if you do mix it and you are anxious and you got sugar crystals on the side, is you want to just have a little thing of water here. Water, scrape down the sides. Just scrape the sugar crystals down. Okay, so that is a way to that, but you just want to try not to. I am going to add a little bit of salt to this because, again, we do want to balance with that sweetness. It's not going to be a balance of sweet and salty. It just balances the sweetness, okay? Right, and I'm going to add this little extract in there. Again, it was not a lot of extract because this is a super strength extract. And see, it's got me choking. And so we don't want to do anything too powerful. I'm going to let that cook a little bit more before I add this dye in there, okay? Let's do we just break this bad boy open, or should we be nice about it? Actually, let me set up a piece of paper under here. Because I know the guys are going to come over, Anthony in particular, and be like, what you got, what you got? So, we got our skull here, and the Halloween thing to this, it should be nice and gooey, so when I do pull his head apart, ooh, be careful because it's greasy, and yes, it is gooey. Do you see that goo there? So, be careful. I'm excited to try a little bit, just a little bit. That is tasty. I'm going to set them to the side. I'm going to eat them off camera. But that's what those skulls are like on the inside. It's almost about where we need it to be. So I'm going to take my spatula into it. Okay. And give it a little mix. It is strong. I'm going to add the dye into here. It will bubble. Do pull it off of the eye. Okay. Pull it off. Temperature's going down. So I'm going to turn it back on, but I'm going to also turn it down very low to about 300. Again, versus it being on 600, okay? So I'll let that do its thing. Yeah, Chef? I could just do a... Oh, what's he doing? Alright, folks. We've got our candy, which is looking pretty good. I'm going to cut up in the s'mores bars. I've let this sit for a little bit. It's looking nice and glossy. So I'm going to scrape everything to the side of the pan. Okay. That way when I go to coat, I'm just rolling it on the side basically. The struggle is real. It's hot. I'm actually going to spray this pan a little bit. Okay, so we're going to set our apples on. I'll spray it just a smidge. Okay. gonna take your apple. Make sure your stick is sturdy, okay? Now these apples are huge, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to coat all 3 of them. They don't, you know, they say bigger is better, but sometimes not always. I've got a few little air bubbles on here, but it's alright. Air bubbles are from when the candy is starting to boil up. Now if your mixture gets too cold, just turn your heat back on and let it sit for a second, okay? You don't have to fear that you've messed up. You can see the candy is pulling from here. If you want candy strings, this is how you get candy strings. Oh, it's everywhere. So just let it warm up a little smidge, okay? You don't have to be fear that you've messed up or it's too late. You don't want to leave it on there for long though, okay? So I'm going to just roll these apples really quickly. Like I said, I got too big of an apple, so it's not rolling that well in the pan for me. But you live and you learn. Tis the seasons, right? Holidays are coming. All kinds of new stuff. Nothing open for Thanksgiving this year, so that'll be different. It'll be about like when it was in the 90s. I don't remember things being open when I was a kid. So there we have our strawberry candied apples. So these little air bowl pockets that are on it, you can pop them or you can leave them. They're just fine. It's from when the sugar is boiling up. And then I'm taking it, I'm rolling in there, I'm creating air. So that's where these little air pockets are. You can pop them. Oh, they're already set. I think they add a nice little flair. Okay, look at that. It's already set up. So, let's set the apples to the side while I cut into this. Doesn't that look great? Does it not look great? Let me get gloves though. You can also spray your gloves again for this, because it's going to be sticky. I don't think that I have a bench scraper over here. So one trick to cutting, when you're cutting something really sticky like this, marshmallows particularly, is just spray your knife. Spray it over the trash or spray it over something. Don't just, you spray on over the floor and you don't have non-slip shoes on, that's your bad. So try not to spray directly over the floor. And I'll just I'm really used to cutting bars and all the brownies, and oh, it really does get out of control sometimes. So I'm cutting them in nice size pieces. So that's 4 there. I'll cut them into 12. So I'll cut them into a 4x3. Nice wholesome piece. Eat half, save the other half for later. Or eat it all, get you another piece for later. Oh, hit a snag, a brief snag. Now look at this. Ooh, Jesus. Look at how great those look. They're s'mores bars. I don't have a plate. Hold, DJ. Sorry, DJ. What is up with me and the plates? Alright, sorry guys. And you got your beautiful s'mores bars. They can sit a little bit longer because the chocolate is still a little runny, but I think they look great. I'll leave them in there because I'm getting dirty. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I hope you try some of these recipes.